Fortuitous timing as always, Valyrian. If you would be so kind then. Absolutely. I'll be pleased to hear that Riel and his men have been making excellent progress. You remember how Philomene helped me to escape the Crystal Braves in Limsa, only then disappear? Well, according to Riel, she crept aboard a ship bound to Radzahan, where she's been hiding ever since. She assures me that it won't be long before we're reunited. As for Yida and Papalimo, the remains of their link pearls have been found, and in Pearl Lane of all places, Riel thinks they must have disposed of them after escaping from the royal promenade. Yes, that would make sense. They cannot risk being eavesdropped upon by our betrayers. We're all We're all but certain they fled the city shortly after, though we still don't have a clue where they went. I see. And what of Thancred and Menphilia? I'm afraid I have nothing new to share about those two, but it's not all doom and gloom. The good news is we've enlisted the services of a Charlian scholar, one of the students of Baldessian, to aid in the search, who should be arriving any day now. One of the students, you say? I should very much like to meet this scholar, if time permits. But first we must attend to a more pressing matter. Sir Emeric has summoned the two of us for a private audience. The messenger did not specify what he wished to discuss, only that it was urgent. Assuming you have no objections, Valyrian, I suggest we proceed to the congregation forthwith. And mayhap we can meet with the scholar afterwards, agreed? In that case, I'll return to the Forgotten Night for now. Things are liable to fall apart if I'm gone too long, you know. The Lord Commander is within. Pray proceed, sir.
Thank you for coming. I wish to speak with you both in a place where privacy was assured.
We quite understand. What was it that you wished to discuss?
With my father's passing, the seat of the Archbishop lies vacant. And so, in accordance with canon law, I have assumed his responsibilities. I should stress that this is a temporary measure. It was never intended that the Lord Commander of the Temple Knights serve in this capacity indefinitely. Quite the opposite. The statutes specify that I should surrender my powers as soon as a conclave of the senior clergy and the high houses have named a new archbishop. But in light of recent events, that would not seem appropriate.
I confess I did not expect you to divulge quite so much quite so soon. The details of the Archbishop's plans, perhaps, but the true origin of the war and all it entails?
I too had concerns. But when the Warrior of Light is witnessed returning to the capital upon the back of a dragon, one's options are rather limited. Mayhap I could have concealed certain details, but for how long? And at what risk? Should the truth have come to light in the meantime, how would the people have viewed my silence? After 1,000 years of lies and secrecy, I could not well abuse their trust and hope to be believed. The time for deception has passed. I only wish the people agreed. That some would deny the truth I had anticipated, but not this many. And among the few who acknowledged that my father had to be stopped, no small number questioned our methods.
If they suspect a coup, it will not be long before some turn to violence.
It has already begun, and that on both sides. Men and women of the cloth are being harassed in the streets. Some have even been assaulted in the broom. Hilda and her people have formed a watch to help us maintain order. But such measures will not prevent the unrest from spreading.
For all our talk of peace, the people remain frightened and confused. For their sake, we must bring the Dragonsong War to a definitive end.
And we should be glad to help you, Sir Emmerich. But what precisely would you have us do?
We wish to treat with the dragons of Annex Trine. To that end, I would trouble you for an escort and an introduction.
Annex Trine? You would speak with Vidofnir then?
We must needs open a dialogue between our peoples. Acting as my representative, Lucia will extend an invitation to their leader, that she might visit us here in Ishgard. Were she still with us, I would of course have beseeched Isel's assistance in this matter. But as she is not, I must ask that you aid us in her stead. Will you do us this favor? Thank you, my friends. Lucia, I leave the rest to you.
In the wake of the Archbishop's fall, the nation of Ishgard trembled, the faith of her people shaken to its very core. For 1,000 years had they fought and died, certain of the justice of their cause, only to be told that their holy war was born of the sins of their forefathers. What then for those brave men and women, thus stripped of their righteousness but to despair, to deny the truth and decry its speakers? And what then for those whom they defamed but to hope on, to have faith in a brighter tomorrow? A tomorrow in which man and dragon might live together in harmony, then as distant as the very stars in the heavens. Yet while we dared to hope, deep within his lair the enemy lay, gathering his strength. Nidhogg, now possessed of his 2 eyes and the body of the Azure Dragoon, prizes to which he had laid claim at the very hour of the hero's triumph. As desperately as we sought the solace of peace, the great worm craved the misery of war. Nor was he alone in his misbegotten desire.
I know little of the lands that these dragons call home, this annexed shrine. Had you not agreed to escort me, the coming journey would seem a far more daunting prospect. I confess, I myself once shuddered at the thought of it. Yet even the longest journey begins with the first step, does it not? Ah, but ere we set forth, Valyrian and I must needs inform our comrades of our plans. Very well, I shall see to my preparations. Then let us go and bid farewell to Tatari, Valyrian. So, what was that secret meeting all about? I'm all ears. A diplomatic mission to annex Shrine, you say? Well, I suppose that does take precedence. But should your meeting with Vidofnir happen to end early, you might consider rendezvousing with your Stola in Yidleshire. She'll be there to receive our guest. Don't get me wrong, your meeting with the dragons is terribly important and everything, but this scholar just happens to be time permitting, as I said. We shall endeavor to join Y'shtola, but if we cannot, pray pass on our regards. Let us be off, Valyrian. We have kept the first commanding waiting long enough. Are you ready then? Good, so am I. The path is long, but known to us. From Falcon's Nest, we shall cross the western highlands and make for Tailfeather into Dravanian forelands. There we can stop to rest and replenish our supplies. Questions? If not, then the stables await. I've always imagined that the first time I set foot upon Dravanian soil would be at the head of an army, and here I am, ready to treat with the brothers and sisters of mine enemies. Full well do I know how difficult it can be to set aside the past, though it was I who first proposed recruiting Yisrael to our cause. I questioned the wisdom of my words almost as soon as I uttered them, and for a long time after that. Here was a woman with the blood of innocence on her hands, men, women, children, all slain in the name of the implacable Lady Iceheart. Yet she acknowledged her misdeeds and agreed to join us in a common cause. At our fight she fought in service for that greater good, even unto her dying breath, and while that does not absolve her of her sins, I hope that one day she will be remembered not merely as a heretic, but as a misguided soul who dreamt of peace. You ask much, Master Alphanode, yet you can say what might come to pass, should our negotiations bear fruit. Yes, yes, of course. We must press on to Annex Shrine, if you will follow me. I forgot how to get up here. Thou art ever welcome here, friend of Ysael. But this one I do not know. Pray forgive us this unannounced visit, Vidofnia. May I present to you Lucia, the first commander of the Temple of Knights of Ishgard, and our trusted friend. It is an honor to meet you, Vidofnia. I am come as an envoy of Sir Amarek, Lord Commander of the Temple Knights, and acting leader of the Holy See. Indeed, you may speak, knight. For 1,000 years, man and dragon have been locked in an endless cycle of bloodshed and sorrow. To our shame, we long believed your kin to be the architects of this war, but now we know the truth, that King Thorin and his knights 12 did willingly betray and murder the great worm Ratatoska, shattering the peace between our peoples. For 1,000 years, our leaders conspired to conceal this truth, a truth which at last laid bare to the warrior of light, the Azure Dragoon, and Ysael. Alas, a deception so intricately wrought cannot be undone in a moment, but our people labor to accept the truth. After an eternity of war, who would dare to dream that peace could at last be within our grasp? Yet dream we must, as Ysael once did. We must make that dream a reality as she could not. We humbly beseech you, Vidofnia, join hands with us in friendship once more before the eyes of my people in Ishgard. A most unexpected invitation. I have heard your request, knight. However, I cannot give you mine answer. May I ask why? This matter concerneth my sire. He must needs to be consulted. Moreover, the Nath grow bold, even as they did before, and I would not leave my people at the mercy of the swarm. Then we will wait. After 1,000 years of war, we shall not give up on peace for want of patience. Ha, fear not, knight, thou shalt have mine answer within thine lifetime. So soon, my humble thanks. I shall bear your words to my lord forthwith, until we meet again. Given the circumstances, I would say that went rather well. To be frank, I am surprised how our proposal was not rejected outright. Whether aught will come to it remains as to be seen, however. Mayhap I should take this opportunity to speak with some of the other dragons. But do not need wait for me. The return journey holds no fears for me now. Well, if you have no further need of our services, we shall continue on to Charlayan. We hope to welcome a scholar who agreed to aid us in their search for our missing comrades. Then I pray your journey is as swift and eventful as ours was, and thank you again for sparing the time to assist us, even when such grave matters remains unresolved. I can think of no graver matter than 1,000-year war, one which our friends gave their lives to see ended. Suffice to say, I would willingly make 1,000 such journeys to ensure that their sacrifice was not in vain. Of that I have no doubt, Master Alphino. I only hope that the fates will not hold you to your word. So, it would seem we have time to greet this scholar after all. How delightful. I shall be interested to hear how she means to go about finding Manphilian Thancred. I can only assume she is privy to some new investigative techniques. In any event, our first order of business is to rendezvous with the Stola in Indoshire. Ah, Valyrian, 'tis good to see you. I confess I assumed your business in Alexstrine would detain you longer. Did your meeting with Vidofnia go well? As well as it can be expected. She must discuss Sir Emeric's proposal with Rasvelgar, of course. She seemed amenable to the suggestion, but what of our Charlian guest? Has she arrived? She has, but when I explained to you that you would be joining us, she asked if you might might use the intervening time to explore. I agreed to meet her outside of Frontbridge. We should be on our way. Oops, I think I went too far. Eh. Oh, oh my god, she's so cute.
I'm terribly, terribly sorry to have kept you all waiting.
Oh, you're adorable.
You need not apologize. We arrived but a moment ago ourselves. Pray, allow me to introduce Crow, who has recently come from the Charlian motherland. She has generously offered to assist us.
Oh, please, think nothing of it. The trip to Eorzea was long overdue. You must be the Warrior of Light. Yes, you certainly do look the part. A pleasure to meet you at last, sir. And who is that I spy but young Alpha No Levieux himself? I dare say someone's grown an ilm or two in my absence. Or are those lifts in your boots?
Miss Cryle and I met at the Studium years ago. I shall forever be indebted to her for her sage guidance.
It was no small task keeping him out of trouble, believe you me. The youngest ever to enter the Studium, him and his sister, 11-year-old prodigies. Suffice it to say, social graces were not among his list of talents. Striding up to his seniors on his first day, head held high. What was it he said again?
Thank you, Cryle.
For what? I haven't finished yet. Would you care to attempt a more dexterous deflection?
Mayhap we should save this delightful conversation for a more fitting occasion, when pressing matters do not demand our undivided attention.
A bit much, but better. I can tell you have been putting your skills to use here in Eorzea. Henceforth, I trust you will dazzle me with your eloquence at the first time of asking. Right, on to more pressing matters. Finding Minfilia and the other missing scions.
I gather you have new information to share with us.
A new approach, actually. Tataru recounted the tale of your escape, and it gave me an idea. Simply put, assuming Thancred left some manner of trail when you whisked him away, as is almost always the case with teleportation magics, I am confident I can find and follow it.
Then what are you waiting for?
The wherewithal to do it. The fact is, my abilities aren't quite up to the task. Not in themselves, anyway. If I had Master Matoya's crystal eye, on the other hand...
Then let us all call on her forthwith. I think it best you explain your plan to her in person.
You did say we were headed for a cave, did you not? But I certainly don't see a cave nearby. Is Master Matoya meeting us on the way or something? I heard many stories of Master Matoya, some quite flattering, others less so. Rest assured they are all true. Rest assured they are all true. This way, and have care where you tread.
Is that trouble I smell? Or did you forget to wipe your boots on the way in?
Forgive us, Master Matoya. We will be sure to wipe them on the way out. And may I say how glad I am that age has not yet deprived you of your senses.
Ever so quick-witted, aren't we? To the detriment of your manners. Well, out with it then. What do you want?
Pray, allow me to introduce myself, Master Matoya. I am Cryle, of the students of Baldessian. I hope you will excuse our unannounced visit.
Baldersian, you say? Ah, yes. The old coot set up shop on the Isle of Val, didn't he?
Regrettably, our order's headquarters and the isle itself were obliterated by a magic of immense power. I have the blessing of light to thank for my own preservation.
Croyle, you too possess the echo.
Well, yes, of course I do. Our order is devoted to uncovering the mysteries of Hydaelyn and interpreting her will, particularly through the study of her gift to us. It was in the course of these studies that I met and subsequently befriended Minfilia. She and I have rather a lot in common.
I had no idea.
You weren't supposed to. Not that I wanted to deceive you, you understand, but precautions had to be taken.
Yes, yes, that's all well and good, but you still haven't told me why you're here.
The students of Baldersian are gone, and there is naught I can do to change that. But the signs of the Seventh Dawn can yet be restored, and my dear friend found. You have in your possession an ancient crystal of light, one you call your crystal eye. I believe I can use it to focus my abilities and locate one of the missing scions.
And there I was, thinking you might want to make use of my years of experience. Oh, wait here.
Long did I ponder the nature of this crystal and its familiar radiance. But never did I suspect it was a crystal of light.
On the cusp of an umbral calamity, souls blessed with the power of the Echo invariably appear. To aid these, her chosen warriors, Hydaelyn bequeaths to each a slither of her strength in the form of a crystal of light. But as her strength wanes, so too does the potency of her gifts. This crystal, born of an earlier era, is infused with a power far greater than those of this age.
You could travel the length and breadth of the land and not find a crystal even a fraction as pure. Its value is beyond measure, as are the risks inherent in its use.
No two manifestations of the Echo are alike. I, for example, can converse with beings of every shape and size, excepting beasts, contrary to what others would have you believe. Language has nothing to do with it, of course. Rather, I am sensitive to the whispers of the soul. Their intent, their very essence even. The traces of which serve to guide the elementals to Y'shtola. Far-fetched though it may sound, I believe that with your crystal eye, I may be able to pick up where they left off and follow the remaining trail to Thancred. That is, if I have your permission.
Well, the poor sod's not going to find himself. So, as long as you don't drop it or take it out of my sight, you may do with it what you will.
Thank you, Master Matoya. Then let us begin. From the Black Shroud, the trail continues to the north and west, towards a mountain. The
hunters of Tailfeather know those lands well. I say we begin our search there.
Ordinarily, perhaps, in his wounded state, he would not have wished to risk contact with strangers of unknown allegiance. Yet even then, Thank had chosen to remain in the forest. The hunters would surely have stumbled across his trail. Tailfeather doesn't strike me as an isolated outpost, though. Merchants and traders pass through reasonably regularly, do they not? In which case, we need to provide a more detailed description when we question the locals. Fear not, Kryle. I have already prepared several sketches of Thancred for that very purpose. This is impressive. You drew him from memory. A skill I acquired some years ago for reasons I no longer remember. I propose we split into 2 pairs. Y'shtola and I will inquire at the outlying encampments, while Valyrian and Krell question the residents of Tailfeather. Afterwards, we shall regroup near Loth as Asvath and share our findings. Assuming there are no objections, let us be about it. My, he has certainly matured, hasn't he? Hard to imagine he was once a boy who practiced drawing for hours to impress young ladies. Anyway, we best get started. Find me when you finish making your rounds. What are you standing around for? There are chocobos just begging to be hunted. Oh, talked to the wrong person. Searching for a friend of yours? Let's have a look then. No, ain't seen him around, sorry. What's that you've got there? A sketch? Can't say another face. You say he's something of a warrior. I heard a tell the other day about a Valyrian vagabond who brought down a bandersnatch by himself, and with style. Way they tell it, he was dancing like a beast, like it was the bell of the bleeding bull. Sounds like him, young man? A Hyuran man? Not exactly rare, you know. Could you be more specific? I did spy this one bloke a while back. Didn't get a good look at his face, but it could have been him. This was beyond the forest, I recall, along the river, to the west of the Tailfeather. I remember thinking he wasn't much of a hunter. The lad was making no effort to cover his tracks, see, that, and he was carrying an axe instead of a bow. Interesting. Finished? In that case, I think we learned everything we can here. Let's see what the others have found. My apologies for our late arrival. We thought it was wise to question as many hunters as we could. Many have made camp in inaccessible locations, ideal for hunting game, not so receiving visitors. Nevertheless, our time proved well spent. There have been countless sightings of an exceptionally capable Hyuran hunter, with whom no one is familiar. Though none chanced to see the man's face, his height and build matched Thancred's description, as does his fighting prowess. So we heard the same tales. Be that as it may, we may yet want for conclusive proof. Mayhap this is unrelated, but I heard a curious tale regarding a Vath trader. He came to Tailfeather and searched for garments fit for a man of refinement, which seemed a rather curious description for one of his kind. Are you implying that Thancred sent a van to the market in his stead? Why would he not go himself? Well, if you recall, you yourself emerged from Lystreaf as naked as your name day. It is a scene I shall never forget. Is it now? Well, I was pleased to see you. I mean, it was a simple statement of fact. It stands to reason that Thancred found himself in the same predicament. In any case, if he had dealings with the Vath, they should be able to tell us, no? Quite right, Krell, quite right. Well, what are we waiting for? For all we know, Thancred could be waiting for us in Loth as Vath. We must go and see the Vath right away. Come along, everyone, come along. Great hunters, we welcome you once more to Loth as Vath. What do you seek this day? We seek a man who we told, who may have had certain dealings. How curious that hunters tire of godly sports and pursue mortal prey. No, no, he is no prey, but a friend long missing. Good, good, he is a friend of the Vath as well, one with whom we have traded many times. Truly, I was quite certain that it was this man. No doubt the flashing cloth and skins came to us from Somal, lost and weak. He offered meat and hides in trade. In exchange we tended his wounds. He brought us much flesh, so skilled a hunter he was. Much flesh. When he asked for garments, we were glad to provide them. And where is he now? Gone to Loth Asknath not long ago, when he heard that the One Might has summoned our god once more. Ravana has returned. Vidofnir did say that the Nath had grown as before, but what could Thancred hope to accomplish for himself? Honored Elder, we thank you for your help. Would that we could repay this kindness ere we depart, and we shall hasten to a comrade's side. Go, great hunters, lest the Nath claim him as a sacrifice.
Thancred! It could be Thancred! We must hurry!
This day, we reclaim the reins of history. This day, we rid ourselves of the Ascians forever!
Fools playing at heroes, all of you. Is this how you believe you can save your world?
We can and we will, Ascian. You shall see. Or perhaps you will not! savior of Eorzea. It's a wonder you didn't come sooner, what with the primal and all. Lost a step, have we?
Have care. The ether moves strangely around him.
It would seem we share a common enemy. Mayhap you would tell us who you are.
Shall we show them? Not very sporting of you to interrupt, but so be it. Mark well our faces, warrior of light, for we are the warriors of darkness, walkers of a different path, and we shall meet again.
Warriors of darkness? Really?
Thancred, are you all right?
Pleasantries can wait. I'd rather not be here when the Nath arrive. Agreed?
Suffice it to say, our reunion was not at all as I pictured it. Waiting until the last instant to join the fray. 'Tis plain you have not lost your appetite for the dramatic.
My appetite for the dramatic? Have you forgotten the circumstances of our parting? The heroic last stand, the tunnel filling with light, and then, had I known you intended to use forbidden magics to deliver me to some god's forsaken wilderness, I would have thanked you in advance.
Thancred.
If nothing else, you might have warned me that I would emerge from the live stream in the altogether. Eventually, I managed to fashion knives from some obsidian I found, and set about hunting for meat and hides. Given that I'm not all that skilled in leatherworking, it's probably for the best that I met the Vath before I was reunited with you.
So you were the fleshling clothed in skins of whom the storyteller spoke?
A description which fit me as ill as the skins themselves. Happily, I was able to trade with the Vath for garments better becoming a man of refinement. From them, I learned of Ravana, and of the great warrior who had once laid him low.
And thence did you conclude that were you to track the Primal's movements, it would surely bring you into contact with the Scions once more?
It seemed a reasonable assumption. I could think of no one else with your enthusiasm for slaying beastmen gods. Until now, that is.
Ah, yes. The self-proclaimed warriors of darkness. 'Tis only fitting that they stand in opposition to the warrior of light, I suppose.
I glimpsed the leaders past, if only for a moment. They were confronting a man in black. An Ascian, I think.
If these warriors are capable of doing battle with Ascians and Primals both, they must be possessed of powerful protection. Protection not unlike the Echo.
Blessed with the power of the Echo and driven down to put down primals, despite his declaration that we walk a different path, I struggle to see how their goals conflict with ours. Nor is that the only oddity. I find it passingly strange that such exceptional individuals should have wholly escaped our notice until now. Surely would have rumors that attempted to recruit them to our cause. I recall no such adventurers, and I would not too soon forget their like, nor would any of us, I think. One of our primary duties was to scour the city-states for promising candidates, which is how I found Valyrian. Ah, the memories. It seems like only yesterday that you first slew your first primal. Speaking of which, I have a distinct impression that it was not the first time that band of merry men and women have killed a god. I labor to believe that a band of preternaturally gifted adventurers had been traveling the land slaying primals without our knowledge. That would imply gross negligence on our part. Speculation will avail us not. There is far too much we do not know. For present, we must needs concentrate on what we do know, namely that Lord Ravana is no more. Vidofnia must be informed, and the news may render her more receptive to Sir Amaric's invitation. Since you seem to have affairs here well in hand, I shall take my leave. Simply being in the vicinity of this colony is giving me a stinking headache. If you have any need of me, I shall be with Master Matoya. I would beg her assistance in search for Minfilia. Wait, Minfilia is missing? I thought that she escaped with Valyrian. I shall explain on the road. Much has happened in your absence. I had not thought to see thee again so soon, mortal. If thou seekest the night, thou know that she hath long since departed for Ishgard. My thanks, Vidofnir, but it is not for her that we came. We bring good tidings for you and yours. Lord Ravana, who has been summoned by the North, has been laid low. Truly, once more you mortals have succeeded, where mine own kind did fail. You did have our deepest thanks. Would that we could take credit. The gods fell by another's hand. Another? Revelation upon revelation. Regardless, it is a cause for celebration. The North will have no choice but to withdraw. But for another matter, I do have tidings. I have tidings for thee as well, regarding the Ishgardian invitation. As promised, I brought the matter to my sire. Hearken to his answer now. For 1,000 years I have mourned my beloved, who gave her life to forge peace thy king betrayed. Thy was my lot, until a child of Ishgard came up unto me. For want of warmth she wrapped herself in a dream, yet the world will not remember her deeds. The world will remember her deeds. For truth she fought, for justice she sinned, for redemption she sacrificed, and became as light. To follow one's heart, to have faith in one's convictions, be it for weal or be it for foe, such is the folly and the glory of man and of dragon. He has entrusted the choice to us, and we have made it. We will keep faith with you who walk in the light. Then you shall accept Sir Amaric's invitations. Let it be known that I, Vidofnir, shall journey unto Ishgard on behalf of my people. We are honored to receive your answer, and we will convey your words to our allies without delay. It is happening, Isael. That you were here to see. You were here to see it.
Even as the Scions celebrated the return of a long-lost friend, honorable men plotted to deprive them of another. Honorable men, to whom Sir Emeric was no hero, but a scheming patricide. Honorable men who would fain wash the paving stones of foundation with the tyrant's blood. Honorable men whose knife in the dark was the spark which set the city aflame, and who sang as it burned.
Yes, quite well. Forgive me. Have you given me rather a lot to digest? This whole affair with Ishgardians and Drivanians and our friends nowhere to be found. It would seem there's no end to our troubles. But we can but face them head on, one at a time. For now we must apply ourselves to our allotted task and leave the others to theirs. Remember, Thancred, we found you, as they found me. In time we will find Yida and Papalymo, and Minfilia as well. Those troubles will soon be a memory, but a memory, one which we will look back on together. Pray do not misunderstand. I did not mean to imply that it would be otherwise. I merely wish that I had rejoined our grand adventure at one of its more triumphal moments. Despite your recent accomplishments, the mood here is less than celebratory. I have no doubt we will enjoy many more glorious victories soon enough. You may rest assured that I will play my part in them in the very hilt. I know you will. So then, to the congregation. You have returned, and in this at least the fates are kind. Greetings, First Commander. It pleases me to inform you that Vidofnia has accepted Sir Amaric's invitation. She has? These are glad tidings indeed. Would that the Lord Commander were here to hear them. Is he otherwise engaged? Aye, sleeping off a knife to the gut. What? What happened? Will he live? The surgeons tell me that he will make a full recovery, but had Lord Edmund and Lord Arturo had not been on hand when the assassin struck, he would not been so fortunate. For mercy, they subdued the fiend before he could land a telling blow. The attack was just beginning, though. Not long after, the buildings all around the city, including several ours, burst into flames. Bastards caught us completely by surprise. We have been dousing the fires, but for every one we put out, it seems that like two more start up. Casualties are mounting, especially in the Broom. 'Tis plain these fires were started by the assassin's conspirators. Until they've been rounded up, there will be no end to this. Will you help us find them? Then let us be about it. The flames are spreading. We must needs begin our investigation immediately. Witnesses must be found. Suspects must be identified. Have you been able to determine the precise locations where the fires were set? Mayhap there is a pattern. If there is, we must yet to discern it. Fires have been reported throughout the city in both pillar ends and foundation. Indeed, given the size of the area affected, I think that it's best to divide our forces. Master Alphanode and Eustace Ishtola, I would have you take charge of this investigation in the fountain. As you wish. Mayhap Tataru can be assistance as well. Meaning Valyrian, we get the pillars. Oh, they'll like me up there. Only question is, will the grizzled old rogue striking a pose over there be joining us. Thancred of the Signs of the Seventh Dawn, and may I say what a pleasure it is to meet you too, my lady. I'll bet the name's Hilda, a scion, eh? And there I was thinking I'd found a fellow ruffian amongst all these illustrious personages. I will remain here for to coordinate the fire-quenching efforts. If you learn aught of the value, pray inform me immediately. That is all. Well, we could begin by sifting through charred rubble and questioning random passerbys. In my experience, every town has at least one individual who can be counted on to know things he or she should not. Aye, the infamous Lord Emmeline de Fortin, lover of women and wine. And though neither care for him that much, they say he could gossip for Ishgard. So just the sort of fellow I had in mind. Capital suggestion, Valyrian. He'll be at the Crozier, most like, making effort to be seen. So let's go and see him. Grizzled, I will expect, but old. Huh. Well, if it isn't Valyrian, dearest of all my friends, you're looking rather glum. Something the matter, old boy? Ah, yes, the arsons. Dreadful business, that. And awfully curious, wouldn't you say? There doesn't seem to be any rhyme or reason to it at all. Naturally, we've doubled the guard outside the manor, along with most of the other houses. Can't have old pile going up in flames after all. Oh, in case you're wondering why the Hoplon is awash with refugees, the lower levels of the vault have been opened for unfortunate souls who've lost their homes. Sir Amaric's orders, from what I hear. Remarkable man, not even a knife in the ribs can keep him from his duties. Actually, old boy, if you're thinking of questioning the refugees, I should be more happy than to accompany you to the Hoplon. While you conduct your inquiries, I shall offer words of comfort to the distressed and despondent young maidens. Wait a moment. I know what that is. You're giving me one of your looks, aren't you? You do me an injustice, old boy. I will have you know my heart yearns for those but once rose, prickly though she may be. I sense you remain unconvinced. Very well. If it will help to prove the purity of my intentions, I will gracefully rescind my offer. Now run along and catch those arsonists. That was not entirely what I have hoped for. Whose idea was to come here again? Never mind. For our next steps, I suggest we divide our efforts. While you question the refugees in the Hopland Valyrian, I shall investigate the locations where the fires were set. Would you be so good as to join me, Hilda? You know what, I reckon I would. Can't have you roaming around in a familiar city by your lonesome, can we? You'd only be robbed blind and left shivering in your small clothes. There was a man with a satchel. I saw him leaning outside the window. There was smoke everywhere. It was so hot I couldn't breathe. I don't remember how I made it out, but I suppose I must have climbed. Maybe my arm is getting better after all. Come, my brothers and sisters, there is food and shelter enough for all in the basilica. Halloran's blessing be upon you, Father. I confess we were not sure if we should come. There are many unbelievable tales these days about the Archbishop and Sir Emeric and the Dravanians. Trust in your heart, brother, and pay no heed to the lies of lesser men. They seek only to lead you astray. Do you require succor as well, sir? So the Temple Knights have begun their investigation at last. Good. This madness has gone far too long. Would that I could do something to aid you in your search, but I have a duty to these poor souls. Farewell, and may the Fury guide your steps. Ours was one of the first homes we claimed, but I didn't see how the fire began. It was only when I heard our neighbors shouting that I looked outside and saw the flames. We barely escaped with the clothes on our backs. Were it not for the church's generosities, I do not know what we'd do. Ah, there you are. Anything to share? I would require more than the muddled testimony of a traumatized girl if we were to identify the culprits. While you were questioning the refugees, we inspected the scenes of several of the fires, including one near St. Raymonald's Cathedral and another near the tribunal. For mercy, neither structure had suffered significant damage. Some might say that we were spared by the glance of the grace of the Fury. Others might question how such ruthless, efficient arsonists contrived to fail so miserably on the two occasions where the target was a bastion of Ishgarian orthodoxy. Nothing conclusive, of course, but it does give me one cause to wonder. Arthur will doubtless have an opinion.